I was on the telephone to my middle sister, Jane, and her husband worked for the Queen, and he was on another line, and I heard him go.
Charles Spencer walked onto that stage expected to give a polite tribute. Instead, he broke his silence, and one sentence brought the entire ballroom to its feet. Cameras reportedly caught Queen Camilla visibly stunned in the moment as the audience around her erupted into applause. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what he said, why it hit so hard, and why commentators believe this speech was never really about the gala at all. The evening was supposed to be simple, a celebration of history, heritage, and charitable work. The guest list included senior royals, longtime patrons of the charity, and a handful of public figures known for their quiet influence rather than their headlines. It was, by every outward measure, a controlled and predictable occasion. But the moment Charles Spencer stepped up to the microphone, that plan quietly fell apart. Guests reportedly expected gentle reflections on tradition. What they got instead, according to those present, completely shifted the mood of the room. To understand why his words hit so hard, you need to know who was speaking, because this wasn't just any guest taking the stage. Charles Spencer carries more than a family name. As the brother of Princess Diana, every public appearance he makes gets picked apart for hidden meaning, quiet messages, emotion buried beneath careful phrasing. So when he stepped forward that night, the room already sensed this wouldn't be ordinary, and it wasn't. Here's exactly what happened. He opened safely, reflecting on compassion, dignity, and public service, measured, respectful. Then the tone shifted. He began speaking about responsibility, about what every generation owes to a national legacy. And then, according to those in attendance, came the line that changed everything, a message that true leadership isn't measured by ceremony, but by character in difficult moments. That single sentence is what set the room off. Applause erupted. Guests rose to their feet, an emotional response that stunned even veteran royal correspondents. Spencer never named anyone directly, but almost instantly, commentators began linking his words to something bigger, an unspoken comparison between the monarchy's past and its uncertain path forward. And that's exactly when the cameras found her. As applause rolled through the hall, the broadcast cut to Queen Camilla, and by most accounts, she appeared unusually still in that moment. No visible reaction, just composure held tightly in place, which only fueled more speculation online about what she might have been thinking. Beside her, Prince William and Princess Catherine also appeared quietly attentive, giving little away either. A stillness that, in royal watching circles, often gets read as significant, even when it may simply reflect standard royal decorum. Historians were quick to note something important. Gala speeches almost never make international headlines unless they touch something larger: continuity, public trust, the direction of the institution itself. That's exactly why this one didn't stay confined to the ballroom. Within minutes, clips of the standing ovation were already circulating online. Accounts dedicated to royal coverage began breaking down Spencer's phrasing line by line, trying to decode whether specific words were aimed at anyone in particular. Viewers zoomed in on facial expressions across the crowd, frame by frame, searching for a reaction that might confirm what many already suspected, but no one could prove. But here's the twist. The real story wasn't happening under those lights at all. By the time guests filtered into the reception halls, the atmosphere had shifted entirely. What began as a ceremonial fundraiser turned into the most talked-about royal moment of the season. And according to insiders, the most revealing conversations happened later, behind closed doors, where every word Spencer said would be re-examined for what it might signal about the crown's future. Royal commentators pointed out something telling. Moments like this rarely become significant because of confrontation. They become significant because of symbolism. Several guests specifically praised how Spencer balanced historical reflection with a message about trust, without ever criticizing anyone directly. Yet the emotional core of his words, compassion, humility, service, has long been tied to one legacy: his sisters. That connection instantly became the center of nearly every analysis that followed. Diana's influence still shapes royal conversations decades after her passing, and whenever a Spencer takes a major stage, that comparison writes itself. Meanwhile, something else was unfolding just off camera, and it says a lot about where public attention actually went. Camilla continued greeting guests with her usual professionalism, but the spotlight had already moved past her. Newspapers and TV panels weren't covering the gala's formal program anymore. They were replaying Spencer's words and the ovation that followed. William and Catherine, too, found themselves pulled into the story, with analysts suggesting the speech quietly reinforced the qualities people now associate with the monarchy's next generation: stability, empathy, steady leadership through changing times. Spencer never mentioned succession. He didn't need to. The connection formed on its own, in the minds of viewers who had already spent years watching the couple build that exact reputation through smaller, less dramatic moments, and behind palace walls, people were watching closely. Unconfirmed reports suggest senior advisors may have been monitoring public reaction closely, because every major royal event tends to be judged not just by how it looked, but by what the public takes away from it. The scale of attention around this one speech proved something rare. A single address, without breaking a single rule of protocol, can shift a national conversation overnight. By morning, headlines had moved on from the gala's charitable cause entirely. They were about the atmosphere inside that hall, the silence, the standing ovation, and the renewed fascination with where the monarchy is truly heading. Even outlets that rarely cover royal events picked up the story, drawn less by the ceremony itself and more by the raw emotion the room had visibly displayed. But one question still hasn't been answered, and it's the one fueling debate to this day. Why did Spencer choose this exact moment to finally speak up? Commentators believe the answer might reveal more than the speech itself ever could. In the days after, the story refused to fade. Newspapers replayed his words. Historians dissected every sentence. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to a single line of the speech, debating whether Spencer had planned that reaction or simply spoken from the heart in the moment. Through it all, one thing stood out. His impact wasn't in what he said directly. It was in what he made an entire room feel. True to royal protocol, the palace offered no public comment. Restraint has always been the institution's default. Let speculation settle rather than feed it, no matter how loudly the public conversation grows. For William and Catherine, the gala only reinforced an image years in the making. Quiet duty over dramatic statements, consistency over spectacle. Historians agree on this much. Royal institutions rarely shift through grand announcements. They shift through moments exactly like this one: a speech, a frozen reaction, a standing ovation caught live on camera. Spencer said nothing controversial that night, but he reminded an entire room, and everyone watching after, that character outlasts ceremony, and that sometimes the quietest sentences leave the loudest impact. So, did Charles Spencer's words carry a deeper message about the monarchy's future? Or was this simply a heartfelt tribute that turned into something bigger online because of how the audience reacted? Tell me your theory in the comments. I read every single one. And if you love this kind of behind-the-scenes royal analysis, hit subscribe because there's a lot more coming.